Well, folks, this is the awkward part where we are live streaming, but we don't know whether we're live or not. So I'll just check out for a couple of seconds here. I'm here with Toma David of Sourcing Monster, which hopefully means that you can also see us as well. Let's just double check here. Some reason Facebook is opening, which is really helpful because I'm not streaming to Facebook. And I'll check YouTube as well. So you can tell I'm more of a podcaster than a live streaming kind of guy, but we'll get this set up and then we'll leave it alone. Okay. Okay, it's live on LinkedIn. It looks like it's live on YouTube as well. Yep, for some reason it's called Social Media How to Square the Circle, even though I thought I'd change the name. But anyway, we're not talking about social media here today. We are talking about Toma's experience. Yes, it's Toma's experience of selling an Amazon business. Right. So I'm going to stop playing social media person and get back to what I know about, which is podcasting. Right, here we go. We're going to record this podcast as live. If you're watching with us live, you're welcome. Here we go. Ladles and jelly spoons, boys and girls, welcome back to the 10K Collective podcast for 6- and 7-figure Amazon sellers. Today, we're talking to Toma David of Sourcing Monster. Toma has built and, most importantly, sold a 7-figure business in the Amazon space, and that's what we're going to be discussing today, the whole experience of that sale. Plus, he has a channel, Sourcing Monster, on YouTube, showing the latest things that work as a 7-figure Amazon seller. So, Toma, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, Michael. It would be a pleasure to talk about how I sold the business, and I know that's the topic of it, and we might have 2 episodes about that, and how I prepared for the sale and how I prepared for the day after. So we should have some interesting stuff to talk about.
Preparing for the day after is it's something we're going to talk about in the next episode. I think that's quite unusual that people actually prepare for, although if you think about it, logically, of course, you should. I guess it implies you have enough faith it's going to happen in the first place. So we've kind of skipped over the idea that you built a business and even that you're going to successfully sell it. And we skipped forward to the part of the movie where you actually going through the process of selling it. So first of all, one question that comes up a lot of the times is why even bother selling your business? Surely if you've got a profitable business, you want to keep it forever, right? So why did you personally decide to sell a business? What was behind that for you?
Yeah, the main reason was, to be honest, that there was too much risk. As you know, selling on Amazon, it's an inventory business. That means that you constantly need to feed up that animal with more and more and more inventory, and maybe on the paper, on the numbers shows that you make 100. Some months I had more than 100K profit a month, and I didn't see it in my bank account. I didn't see 100,000 like okay, I'm taking them, and it was constantly taking that money and paying suppliers and paying for freight forwarders and paying for all those suppliers. And yeah, of course, the more money you make, you should see a bigger chunk in your bank account. But it was starting to become riskier and riskier. I had a lot of inventory by Amazon. I had a lot of inventory, especially when you import from China. Your cash flow is really bad because you have like inventory sitting in the sea. You have inventory by Amazon. They are holding money for you for 2 weeks. So cash flow is not really the name of this game. So there was a risk for me. I would, put a lot of money in inventory and a lot of money inside Amazon. And I knew that, okay, I can sell it for a good number and just remove that risk and just start again. That was the thought. And that's what exactly I did. So that was the idea behind it. Maybe if I had more money or reserves on the side, maybe I would keep it because it was, a good business at the end of the day. But, that was the decision that I made, and I'm happy with it. And now I'm building and having another 7-figure business on Amazon that I feel that I have or look at things a little different now.
Interesting. Well, we're going to talk about how you look. That's going to be interesting to talk about how you look at things differently once you're on the other side of it. But that's a very good point. So too much risk. And I'm getting the feeling also that not enough cash in your personal bank account. Is that right? You wanted to see some actual money.
You wanted to see some actual money and kind of have to see the success like tangible, like in my hands, all that money, because again it was we were selling well, we had the good profits, but at the end of the day we didn't really see it in the bank account. So that was one reason. Second reason, of course, with all that inventory and all that money that was involved, there is a risk with Amazon. You depend on them, and one day they can shut you off or have any like it's not you don't have full control over the process. So that's also a big part of why I sold it, just to remove that risk.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it's interesting that people have different ways of trying to mitigate the risk of selling on Amazon, and the control that Amazon has over our lives, our bank accounts, our stock, our entire reputation online. And one of the ways that people get obsessed with is to set up a Shopify store. And maybe that's good, maybe not. As far as I can tell, and I'm not an expert in that skill set, it is a different mindset, a different skill set, right? But one of the things you can do is simply take everything off the table and then go again using the same skill set, right? Which is interesting. It's obviously your choice. So tell us a bit about the process of the sale then. So obviously building a business is one process. What were the steps in the process for you of the sort of leading up, let's say 12 months leading up to the actual sale event?
The process was that from the beginning, I don't know where I heard that, but from the beginning, I kind of prepared the business to be ready to be sold. If that's like organize the SOPs or hiring people and having like everything ready to a day that when someone comes to buy it, it's easy to transfer the business. I didn't know that I had a lot of more work to do, other than just planning it like that. But that was the original thought. I think I heard it somewhere, just to build it like in an organized way. And then I got an email from a company that were interesting to buy my business. I didn't plan to sell it. I didn't put it out there. I just got that offer from them, and offer from Terracio. And there was one aggregator that actually sent me a LOI, like letter of intent, that they showed the number, and I was like, wow, that's really nice offer that they put there. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to sell. And then I showed it to a friend, a colleague of mine. You probably know her, Sharon Evan, her name. And she told me, look, wait, just talk to another friend of mine, Elka Billy, and she's a broker. She have Fortunate, if you heard about them. Then they have it's a brokerage firm that specializes in selling and helping sellers to sell their Amazon businesses. And she looked at it and she said, look, it's a good offer, but I think based on what I see, that if you wait maybe a few months, you could get much better offer for your business. And I actually listened to her. I declined that offer, and came to start working with her, building the numbers and planning it better, and turned out to be a good decision, because I got almost double than the first offer. So it was really a good decision, and that was how I planned it. But that's it took me 12 months from that moment to actually work on the numbers, organize our P&L reports, shift a little bit our focus from launching a ton of products to launch less products and focus on more profits. That was the direction of what we did from that point.
Excellent. So there's a certain sort of lead up to sale where you focus on the trailing 12 months profit. So I don't know if they're still shopping in or buying in such a naive way, but the aggregators were at one point simply obsessed with the trailing 12 months earnings, right? Nowadays, I would imagine that perhaps a more sane acquirer would look at trailing 3 years, because 1 year is not a whole future. But was it really all about the trailing 12 months when you sold, or did they care about any of the previous years?
They wanted to look at the previous years, and I had good solid 2 years before. So, it was, I could show that the trend was always up, like the first year, the second year, the third year. And I also showed them that there is more potential by having few ideas in the pipeline already, kind of ready to launch. So they got it as a kind of a bonus. And I suggest that anyone that want to sell, don't stop with the product research. Don't just say, oh, okay, in a few months, I'm going to sell. have some products in the pipeline for two reasons. One, aggregators and buyers look at it as a bonus, as something, okay, there is more future, there are more products in the pipeline that we can right away launch. And second, which is more important in my opinion, is for yourself. Let's say you don't sell it. At least you're not kind of falling between the chair, like your chairs, and you have some plan B. You can actually launch those products and move on. And I think more importantly is the mindset. When you know that you have those products in the pipeline, you come to negotiations with much more confidence. You come and you say, you know what? I don't need to sell. You want to sell, you want to buy it, you want to give me a good offer, you got it. You don't, I have alternatives, so you come strong, you come confident, and that's how I actually negotiated. I always told them, I want to sell, I think you're good buyers, but at the end of the day, nothing will happen if I'm not selling. I'm going to be happy as well. And that was my mindset. If it doesn't go, if I don't get the offer that I want, even though I really wanted to sell, nothing happened. I know it's a good business, and I will keep operating it and growing it to a point that a good buyer will come.
Yeah, it's a great mindset. I've heard a lot from quite a few people that they ended up struggling with the juggle between the process of selling, which obviously involves a lot of data depending on the size of the business, and talking with a lot of potential buyers or different brokers or whatever. And on the other hand, you've still got to be running your business. So how did you manage to you obviously had a very balanced mindset, and I really think that's great. How did you manage to balance your time between those two tasks?
Yes, it was not easy, but I prepared myself strong, because I heard a lot of people that went through this experience of selling, and I was prepared that it will be a busy period or a busy time where I will have to jump on a lot of calls and do a lot of things at the same time. But I think that I'm good with prioritizing my tasks. And I kind of only focused on, the things that were matter. Anything that was really long term or long planning was kind of put aside. So, I didn't really feel like a crazy shift or change in my workload, because I planned it well. So, I was prepared that it's going to be hard. I pretty prepared for the worst, but it wasn't that worst, So
really?
It was kind of easy for me.
Wow. So that's not a common statement from people who sell their businesses. Normally say it was a really huge amount of work. I wasn't expecting it. It was a shock. Maybe because you'd listened to other people go through that difficult thing, and you're naturally maybe an organized person. That's very interesting.
Actually, I remember one thing that was tough. The last week of the due diligence, just before we signed off the contract and the final document of the sale, I was actually in Austria in a ski vacation with my brothers, and I remember okay, we have a meeting at that time, and I was telling them I have to go with the lift down to the hotel to talk with the buyers. And actually I didn't tell my brothers that it was with the buyers. I had a meeting. I told them I didn't want to say tell anyone that I'm selling. Only after everything is closed, I told people. And I went down to the hotel talking to them. It was kind of busy and weird, but I was able to manage it even on vacation. So it's all about planning. If you plan it right, if you just take things in with planning it should be much easier.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. You're obviously a very structured guy, because you were thinking from the very beginning about creating SOPs. One thing that strikes me actually is that if you're going to have time to add to preparing to sell your business and have those conversations and send those documents, as well as running the business, if you're already working 80 hours a week to run your business, you're not going to be able to do the other stuff, right? So I guess you'd organize the business so that it wasn't driving you crazy just to run it day to day. So tell me a bit about your thoughts from the beginning. You already mentioned that you were going in thinking that you had to be ready to sell from day one, which is great thinking on paper. Very few people do that in practice. So why do you think you were able to do that and other people struggle with that?
I don't know about other people, why they struggled with that, but I think that if you just do it step by step and plan it from the beginning, I knew that it will be much easier for me than do it all at the end. And at the end, by the way, it was also a lot of work. So I imagined to myself, what would happen if I didn't plan that? And when I did plan that, it's just being organized. Like, let's say you get a freight forwarder invoice. Instead of just skipping it in your email, just download it and save it to Google Drive to an organized folder. It just take a minute. But imagine that you have to do it at the end, and you do it for like hundreds of invoices. That's going to be a lot of work. So I looked at it from a perspective of working less or not having a lot of stress. So I just kept doing what I need to do at every single point. And I knew it's like, organizing your house. If you wait for everything to be a mess, then it's much more stressful and take much more time than if you just finish the cup of coffee, just put it in the garbage or whatever. So it's all about that mindset of just doing what you need to do now and not wait for later to postpone it and procrastinate, kind of.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So just get it done as you. I like your house metaphor. It feels very doable. Like you drink the coffee, you put the mug in the dishwasher. It sounds like every conversation I've ever had in a boring corporate environment. I like people leave rude notes on the kitchen in every business I've ever worked in, right? Put your cup away. There are no magic elves. So it's the same mentality, being neat, if you like. So apart from that, though, I guess that there are certain key things you've got to organize. So you talked about SOPs, hiring people. What were the other things you think that made it easy to transfer your business that you put in place from the beginning that other people should put in place?
I think that those are the main things. Obviously, you need to build a great, asset. You have to build a great product and be profitable. And those are just the side things. You can just focus on those things. The main focus was obviously being successful, being showing numbers, and if everything would align and would work, then it comes to play all these other stuff. But the other stuff was kind of part of the mentality or the strategy, and didn't really require a lot of thinking and other than that, to be honest, that's what I was focused on, just hiring. I also knew that hiring and having SOPs would not just help for a sale. It also helps me my day-to-day operations. And in case I'm not going to sell, it's also good for me. So it's not just that I did it just for, sell it. It was also good to a good structure of me or allowing me to scale faster. So hiring people, having SOPs was very, very handy when someone left, I would just plug them into the SOPs and just got new person without having to train them all again. So that was not just was done just for sale. It was done also to operate the business and scale it. So it wasn't something that I was focused on, my day-to-day. Okay, what I'm doing today to prepare for a sale. It was in the back of my head, something that I do anyway, like I told you, with the invoices, preparing everything, and the SOPs and all of those stuff. And my main focus just was growing the business. That was my main focus day to day.
That makes sense, but it doesn't sound like it was a division. You just were professional from the beginning. And I guess one other thing that strikes me that's worth us quickly talking about is this. You mentioned, well, obviously I wanted to be profitable. It's all about the numbers. Now that does sound obvious to me as well, but I know from my own experience and some people are out there building businesses that are really creative people, but they're not great with the numbers. So how did you set up your profit and loss? I mean, what would you say are the essential disciplines around profit and loss or numbers measuring that people have to have in place?
Yeah, I think that this skill came to me from my previous career, kind of. So I started my Amazon business because I was, I was involved in a family business. We had, jewelry and diamond business, a factory in New York. I moved from Israel to New Jersey. But we had an office in the Diamond District in New York, and a factory, a small shop, and I was mainly measured by numbers, by profits every week. It was a family business. I was a partner, but not a majority partner. And my brother was my boss. So every week we had a meeting, and the only thing, not the only, but we would just look at metrics. We would look at numbers, and we did it for years. We worked together 10 years. So every week that was our focus. Numbers from each channel. From Google, what were the numbers? From Facebook marketing, what are the numbers? From SEO, what are the numbers? Every channel, we would just track the numbers and just operate based on that. So our next week goals were kind of derived from those metrics. So it was kind of built in, I guess, in myself to just focus on those things and profits. And I took it with me to Amazon. So I think those are the things that it really helped me a lot to be organized and focus on profits a lot.
Excellent. Well, I guess most people aren't going to be able to go and work for your brother for 10 years in the Diamond District, because that's going to be very time consuming. But it's interesting that you got into a real, the things I'm taking from that is you got into a rhythm with meetings. You were very, very focused on numbers. You use the numbers to guide next actions. And then also, crucially, there was somebody holding you accountable, literally your brother in this case. So it sounds like for a lot of people, they're in a more abstract situation because they don't have somebody holding them accountable, in the sense that they're either working on their own or their business partner and them, and maybe neither of them are very experienced in business. Is there a way that you think that people can reverse or sort of create a situation that is somewhat like that for themselves if they don't have your background?
Yes. So I still have in the new business that so basically with the new Amazon business I'm involved in, I joined a friend of mine that started an Amazon business as well. And after I sold, I told myself, okay, what's the easiest way to come back to the game? Just partner with him. It was a win-win for both of us. For me, it's saving me time developing all the product line, and for him, he can really take my experience scaling and growing. So what we do in this business, we also have these weekly meetings, same thing, and we go over the numbers and we just do that. But if you don't have that partner or someone to go over the numbers, put a recurring task for the beginning of the week that will remind you to go over the numbers and prepare tasks out of those numbers, or taking or preparing an action list of things you're going to work on based on those numbers. So for example, you could, let's say, a product that was performing very well. So you want to understand what the next step, the next task would be, maybe ordering more inventory, maybe like you can easily take tasks and things that you can do to really improve it and make it better. So I guess it comes to discipline, whether you do it with a partner or with yourself. You need to be disciplined enough to make sure that you do it every week. There's no magic pills for that,
Yeah, I guess not. But I have to say that discipline often comes, I think, in self-discipline can come from an external experience that builds a habit. So you obviously had that habit. You're probably naturally a very disciplined person anyway, I guess, but you certainly come across that way. But I guess having done that routine weekly for many years has built it in. So it's really one of the things I'm taking away, really, because for you, it feels very natural to be structured. But trust me, most of my clients are not like that. So very good example for us all to follow. Well, look, you're clearly talking of having somebody to help you out. Sometimes having discipline on your own, it can be hard. And it can help to have a mentor as part of the mix of people around you. So I know that's something you offer. What other services do you offer e-commerce folks out there, Tamer?
Yeah, so I'm mainly focused on being a seller and also operating the YouTube channel where I share content. I also offer like a course that I shifted recently, not just a traditional course, but also like a weekly Q&A, so people can actually ask questions. I feel that's something that is missing in a lot of courses where they have the knowledge. The knowledge is out there. You can go to YouTube. Even in my channel, I have like a course level content for free. But how you actually connect it and take action, I think that's the missing piece in the puzzle for a lot of people. And I know that you also help a lot of sellers with that. So it's something similar. Yeah, just offer the course, the training, the way that I did and do things, and then people have access to me, and can ask questions and me helping them taking action.
Yeah, it sounds really good. And as you say, I think that the key is action. You're very much a man who's very focused on taking action. And you seem to sort of find it pretty straightforward, which is great. So you can pass on that common sense and wisdom to people. And if people want to get hold of you, either to work with you one-to-one or for your course, which sounds good, where's the best place to go? Is it just sourcingmonster.com, or where else would they get you?
Yeah, they can check sourcing-monster.com, or check the YouTube channel, Sourcing Monster. They can see some videos and get a feel of what I share there. Recently, I check a lot, or got involved a lot with AI, how I can actually make more content using AI. And in the last month, I'm able to produce much more content, like everyday content, and that's great, because it's great for people, because they get more knowledge, they get more content, and for me, I use the same kind of effort. So they can check the videos there and see if they like it or not. I'm trying to really share things that are up to date and recent in my business, like case study that I just did recently about how I changed some creatives in ads that led to really increased CTR and decrease in cost per clicks. So that's things like that are really cool for sellers, because they can actually implement and do the same thing in their business.
Excellent. Well, that sounds very practical stuff. So it's sourcing-monster.com, and you got some good testimonials on there as well to reassure people, but you clearly know what you're doing. So I think it's, as you say, in the end, people who can get you to action are valuable people, and you're definitely one of them. So thanks for sharing that experience. I think the next thing we're going to talk about in our next episode is going to be what you do after you sell your business, which in my experience, quite a few people who sold businesses hadn't thought that through at all, and they struggle a bit. So an interesting episode coming up, but for the moment, Tomer David of Sourcing Monster, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Michael. You're doing an awesome job.
Very sweet of you. Right then, let's record the next one. Just a fresh introduction. Yeah, good stuff though. I like it. You make it sound very easy, and I guess maybe it is for you. It isn't necessarily for everyone else to be disciplined. Right then, let's do that.
It's all come to that, I see. I see a lot of people, like, ideas are out there. The problem is not with ideas. I think it's the big problem we have is execution, implementation, like you said. 100%. And that's that's why I really work on, like, most of my day, just being organized. You see, like, I have the next thing, not just look around, just do that. And it's simple. At the end of the day, it's simple. It's like you want to lose weight. It's simple. You just stop
eating. Yeah, that's one of the things on my list that I need to get to this year. I did go for a run this morning anyway, so at least I'm getting started. Right then, let's do the next one. Not in Italy now. No, we were in Sardinia. It was ridiculously hot. I mean, I'm now in Britain, where it's mediocre temperature, but guess what? It's easy for running. No excuse. Right, let's do the next one. Here we go.
Michael, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
That's all right. Well,
let me know when you want to do the next one.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I was going to record the next episode straight away, if that's okay.
Oh, right now?
Yes. Is that okay? Have you got a dash?
How long did it took? Like 30 minutes, 25 minutes?
Yeah. Let's 20 minutes. Maybe we can do this in 20.
Let's finish it. Yeah.
You good to do it? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Man of action. Well, we'll keep it short. We'll keep it punchy. Right, here we go.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, camera back to me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the 10K Collective podcast. Sorry, let me try that all again. Ladles and jelly spoons, welcome back to the 10K Collective podcast for 6, 7, and even 8-figure Amazon and e-commerce sellers. We are talking with Tomer David, who's built and sold one 7-figure business on Amazon. It is now straight back in the game. But of course, once you sell a business, you got to think, what do I do next? And I've seen a few friends of mine who've sold businesses for 7 figures, which is a success, and some clients of mine as well, wonder what to do with their lives. Some of them are really struggling. So an important question. So Tomer, welcome back to the show, first of all. Thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It was a great talk last time. And I'm looking forward to share how I planned for the day after you sell. And
so you actually had a plan by the sound. You're clearly, from our previous conversations, very organized person. So what strikes me is most people don't necessarily plan to sell immediately. They have it as a vague idea. They get an offer from somebody. It's too good to refuse. They sell, and then they go, now what? So in your case, it sounds like you didn't do that. You had a plan for the beginning. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I had a plan to sell it, and then it came as a surprise. It was like you said, it was a big idea to plan it one day, to sell it one day, and then I got an offer from an aggregator that wanted to buy it and sent me an LOI, letter of intent, with an offer, which I declined. But from that moment, it was in my mind more serious, and I planned more seriously. And I've kind of already decided in my head that I'm going to sell it, and I planned accordingly. And because I had enough time to plan for it and it didn't come as a surprise, I also planned the day after what I'm going to do after I'm selling, what I'm going to do in case the negotiations or things will not work and I'm not going to sell. So I really try to cover all scenarios. What happened if, what happened after, what happened if this go to that direction. And I like to be planned because it gives me confidence and removes kind of stress. So that's the way I did it, to be honest, or I looked at it.
Yeah, I like that. A plan gives confidence and removes stress. That sounds like an excellent reason for doing it. And so you had a contingency plan. So I guess you plan to do what to do if it didn't sell. But so is it right that you really only started to plan what you would do when it did sell once you'd made the decision to sell maybe 6, 12 months before you sold? Is that right? You didn't really make that decision years before when you founded the business.
Yeah. And look, I love the lifestyle and what being a seller on Amazon gives. So I wanted, and I would still want to stay in Amazon sellers because it give you really a lot of flexibility. Gives you technically you don't need to work more than an hour or two when your business is running, growing it or even like operating it. So it's really amazing business model. So I knew I want to be a seller, even after I'm selling my business, and planned accordingly. So I opened another brand already like a year before I started to the process of selling. Also, I guess opening another brand was like a way for me to remove risk. The first episode we talked about why I actually sold my business, and risk or being in Amazon ends or having them the ability to shut me down in one day was really scary thing for me. So I said, okay, how can I mitigate this? How can I remove or a little reduce that risk? And one way for me was to open another business, another brand. So I said, in case something goes wrong, I have another brand that I can rely on. Obviously, it was a side thing. It didn't take a lot of, focus or growth. It was like making, I think, 300,000 a year. So, compared to the other one, that was a bigger one. But still, I knew that one day when I sell this one, I can shift my focus back to this one, growing it. So that was how I prepared pretty much.
Interesting. So you prepared to stop being an Amazon seller by preparing to start being an Amazon seller, pretty much. Yeah, it's very interesting. And quite a lot of people, probably share that they want the cash as opposed to just paper profits. But on the other hand, they don't really want to stop selling on Amazon. And it's a skill set they've developed. So that's very interesting. So exactly. What are the other things that you planned then? Obviously, did you have a plan for what to do with the money outside of Amazon? Did you want to pay off a mortgage or buy a car or invest in different asset classes? You mentioned you were in the jewelry business in the past. Have you got other asset classes that you wanted to put money into?
To be honest, yes, I wanted to get into real estate and takes some of the money and invest it in some other stuff. So I also prepared for the day after learning about like tax like wise what I'm going to do, what is the best way to deal with it, because the more you prepare for it, maybe even before, the more you can save. And I did some calls with my accountant and try to figure out what is the best way to reduce those tax payments. I moved to Florida from New Jersey, so there is no state tax here, which was great. But also did some other stuff as far as like the tax planning. And after selling, after I got the money, I tried to kind of accelerate the process of looking on other investments and things that I do now even.
Okay. So I guess that I ought to ask you what the other assets are. People seem to get very obsessed with people buying NFTs or crypto or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't want to
it
go
was
down a
one
rabbit hole
thing.
here.
It was one thing that I explored and decided not to invest in. I wanted something with more control, and really, I think 2 months after I sold, I was already in India, and we have like I have a partner there, and we have YouTube channels that we operate. We have like I think at that point like 30 people already working for those businesses, those YouTube channels, and basically we create content. We have YouTube channels for kids. We have YouTube channels for animals, for now for rescue animals, like a lot of any ideas around that go viral, we try to be there.
Wow.
So
So
that's
you've
another
really
business I'm
moved
involved in.
into content creation in quite a major way. I mean, obviously Sourcing Monsters part of that, but they're quite a lot bigger. Wow,
Yeah.
you're a real powerhouse businessman, I've got to say. So that all sounds very, what's the word? Intimidatingly well organized and impressive. For people who are perhaps less certain what they want to do after they sell, have you got any thoughts for them?
Yeah, they should really ask themselves what they want or how their lifestyle should look like. And that's what I did before I got into Amazon. So I worked in that jewelry business, and I asked myself, I don't want to do what I do now. I don't want to be a slave to work from like 8 o'clock till 7 or 8, and building like something that I don't see a really a huge future in, not financially, but also financially. If I look 20 years, we saw the trend. Jewelry and diamonds are not like before. Women would prefer maybe an iPhone today or iWatch rather than a diamond ring or a diamond bracelet. So popularity of jewelry or fine jewelry is going down. We cannot really ignore it. So I kind of saw it. And if I look 20 years, I didn't have confidence saying, you know what, it's only going to grow. But on the other end, if you look at e-commerce, it's only going to grow, right? If you look 20 years from now. So, financially and also the lifestyle that I had, really not something that I wanted to keep doing. So I asked myself how I want my lifestyle to look like. And based on that, the research or the way that I looked at things was kind of aligned with that. That's why I got to Amazon. I said, I want to work from anywhere in the world that, let's say I work in Florida or in Israel or in wherever you are, I can operate the business and I can scale it to something big with relatively small operation. That Amazon thing this and SEO came very close together. And at the end of the day, I decided to go with Amazon and not SEO, even though I know really amazing people in the SEO space that it's kind of similar, because you can operate it from anywhere and you can have a relatively small team and operate something big. So it was very similar, but at the end of the day, you need to go with your skills, with your research, and then ask yourself tough questions of what and how you want your life to look like. And then based on that, I think it will be easier to decide what you're going to focus on.
Yeah, it sounds extremely clear. I mean, it's just unusual for somebody to actually be that clear in their actual actions. So you're an example to sort of how it's done, really. You make it sound so simple. Why do you think that, you work as a mentor in this space? So I can't be the only person who finds this stuff harder than you, or my clients find it hard as well. And you must see that with your clients. Why do you think people struggle with this stuff? Or am I just the only person who's seeing this?
I think it comes down to what we spoke at the end of the first episode, when I think that was after that we closed the recording or finished. But it comes to discipline. I think that most people just want to take the easy route, want to do the easy tasks, and I think the hard is actually the easier, because if you're organized, if you do what you need to do right now, it will make yourself less stressful and it will make your life more successful, and you're just going to achieve your goals and be more happy. So I think it comes down to people being overwhelmed and look at things as bigger than what they are, and that prevent them from taking action and being organized and disciplined. But it's kind of, in my opinion, it's easy. You just need to do what you need to do, and the good things will just follow, even though, so when I started Amazon, my first goal was, okay, I need to do $10,000 profit every month in order to replace my current job, my current career, in order to feel confident to leave that. And I was able to reach that goal because I had a very, very organized plan. I need to know what I need to do. So I plan to work 3 hours a day because I had my other job, and I had to do it. It was hard because I woke up at 4 a.m. and did these 3 hours until 7 a.m. And then from there, I started my day being with my girls and family, and then started my other job, being in bed 8:30 and going to sleep. So it was 1 year that was very hard, but I always reminded myself, don't look at the results, don't judge, just do it for 1 year, just do it and not look at the results. Because before, I had a lot of other stuff that I tried and didn't work. I failed. And why I failed? Because after a month, I measured myself and nothing happened, of course, and I gave up. So I think the most important thing is just stick to the process, and just believe that what you do will kind of grow. And it's like a plant that you put it, and you don't see nothing really grow until a few weeks or months. So I think that's hard to keep it, but if you just stick to it and believe in yourself and in the process, things in the end will work. The same with Amazon. Sometimes you, even as a seller, I have some products that fail, but I always remind myself, stick to the process, launch more products. It will work out. It will eventually work. Even if you have failed and your confidence goes down, and it happens to me all the time. Like, I launched a lot of products successfully, also failed with a lot of products. And every failure, like we have now a big failure, we ordered 15,000 units of a product that we thought gonna be amazing. And it's like we sell like 3-4 units a day instead of 100 to 200 a day. And it's really, taking your confidence down. But you always have to remind yourself, okay, just stick to the process. It's part of the process, losing, you can't just win all the time.
Yeah, I guess that's that's an important thing to say. And I guess it's a bit like being a sports person. In the end, a lot of the people that I find are most successful at running small businesses, particularly in e-commerce, which I know about better than other ones, they enjoy the game. And part of the game is that you can lose, and that gives spice and value to winning, right? And I really like that. So you had a tough old year, and I really like what you just said, don't judge the results. At least you are, but maybe after a year, right? But not after a month.
Yeah, after a year.
That's so important. I think you put your finger on why a lot of people fail. I'm the same myself. When I look back on business things I tried before Amazon, I just didn't give it a serious focus go. And I didn't allow the fact that financial metrics are trailing metrics. So you put the work in there really hard, nothing seems to happen. And then it happens at the end, right? So
it really happens in the end, by the way. I reached my goal at the last month.
Really?
So, yeah. The last month. Yeah, I started after 6 or 7 months, I started to be profitable. I made 2,000, 3,000, and it gave me a lot of fuel. Like it was really a boost of motivation, seeing, wow, this is work. But, to tell you that I believed that I would make the 10,000 in a year, maybe deep down, yeah, I believed. Otherwise, I wouldn't push. But it was kind of looked like a goal that is hard to reach. But I always remind myself, look, after 6 months, I'm like 2,000 or 3,000 profit. I can do it. Like, just again, let's just look at the process, what my actions are.
Nice. I like it a lot. Well, look, this is a very inspiring story. I don't want to mess with this really, except just to remind people that obviously you do offer mentoring for people who are running businesses. Are you particularly focused on people who've got an existing business, or do you mentor people from beginning? How does that work?
I think that it's both beginners and advanced sellers. I do take mentorship from me. It's not my main focus. but it's something that I also enjoy. I think people that want, to be successful and they willing to do what needs to, it takes to reach there. I love helping those people. But everyone that feel that wants to learn about Amazon, you can check the YouTube channel. I have a ton of content there, and I like you saw, I like to focus on the mental side, on and because ideas and knowledge and everything is out there. It's what you do with it. So that all comes down to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Implementation trumps knowledge by many thousands of percent, I guess, well, infinity almost. Great. And so the places to go to find you are Sourcing Monster, the YouTube channel, I'm guessing. Is that right? And I'm just looking it up now to see, I guess Sourcing Monster is pretty easy to say. And if you put it into YouTube, you'll find it pops up right at the top, as you'd expect. I can see that you've been unraveling the mysteries of PPC recently with somebody from Elizabeth Green and listing review services. So lots of things on there. And then, of course, you've got your website, sourcing-monster.com.
But you also just launched a service that actually take my experience into people that have product. It could be existing product or even brand new product. And basically what I do, I just review everything and give them recommendations what to do. And it's really cheap. It's like $59 just for the images or $99 for full listing review, where I'm recording a video and showing them what they need to do. And it's something that I also enjoy. I enjoy looking at listings, and I think conversion and listing optimization, that's the things that I most enjoy, because you can take a listing and with relatively small changes can get much better results. So that's something I'm very passionate about, like conversion optimization and listing optimization in the space.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I guess those are the little hinges that swing big doors, right? So if you can increase the conversion rate on a listing from 20% to 30%, then that changes everything.
That's
it really
be hard,
does.
not that easy, but
Yeah, not easy. It depends how bad the listing is to start with. I mean, I remember once one of our clients brought something to the mastermind where he was doing 30% conversion rate, which is very good. And we all just ripped it apart, and he went up to 40 because we'd really just taken it apart. That was a few years ago. I think there are more optimized listings now, but still, it's incredibly important. And it's a fantastic use of an expert because you're going to get a payoff quickly. And the wonderful thing is, unlike ads optimization, you pay once for an optimization and then it keeps giving you money every single time somebody lands on your listing. So a brilliant thing to do. So I'd recommend to everyone that they go and get themselves a review from somebody who's expert as Toma. Great stuff, very inspiring. I like that real thought about the difference between failure and success was actually your relationship to your expectations of how quickly you were going to make money. Very interesting insight. Is there anything else that I should have asked you, Toma, about yourself or your business?
No, Michael, thank you again for having me. You are doing an awesome job. I told you this last time, and the content you create is really cool, and thank you for doing that. It's really, really amazing, and thank you.
My pleasure. And it's always a great excuse to talk to incredibly accomplished people like yourselves who make it sound very easy, and that's really inspiring for me as well. So thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully inspiring everyone else to just get action done, which seems to be your super skill. So thank you so much. So Toma David from Sourcing Monster, thanks so much for coming on the 10K Collective podcast.
Thank you, Michael. Cheers.
Good and done. I must let you get to your next item on your list.
Yeah. Tick. Actually, from here, I'm going to train like my jiu-jitsu training, and then
really
very busy day.
Yeah.
And tomorrow it's a day from tonight actually. It's a day where we fast for 24 hours. In my religion, Jewish. So at 8 o'clock till tomorrow 8 o'clock, we have to fast for 24 hours.
Hardcore.
So cleaning a little bit the belly.
It's probably extremely healthy as well as a good spiritual discipline. Anyway, so I just say goodbye to our live listeners. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Sorry about the